How's it going, everyone? It's Thursday. It's time for Gear Talks. That's right. That one time out of the week I sit down and talk about Gears of War because, honestly, it's my favorite franchise and I have nothing better to do. I'm Cody Booker, a.k.a. Cab, a.k.a. that guy with BCast Gaming, a.k.a. that guy that hangs around with a Squirtle every single video. I think I've used that one before, but I'm going to use it anyway this time. Today, we're talking about the Snub pistol, or its actual name, which was released later on in its artwork, the MX8 Snub pistol. So, the Snub pistol itself is considered to be the most basic loadout or layout you could have for a Gear Soldier. Every Gear Soldier has touched a Snub pistol at least once in their military career. Every single one has shot it, probably, because it is... You know, I said in the last video when I did weapons, I talked about the Gnasher, how I said, oh yeah, the Gnasher, it's so widely produced and you have to have a certificate to use it, but after a while, with the situation with the Locust War, everyone had one. Well, the Snub was like that before the Locust and probably during the Pendulum Wars and before that. The Snub pistol is the most basic weapon a gear can have. You would say the Lancer, well, that is true. In a tight spot, you're going to pull out the Snub. Now, while the Lancer is the most signature, the Snub is probably the most used because it's not that it's the most effective weapon at all, really. It's a Snub pistol. Anyone who's played Gears knows the Snub pistol. Me personally, I'm more of a fan of the Cantus pistol, which I forgot the name of. I think it's the Gorgon pistol, I believe. I'll put it down here. If I got it wrong, I think it's the Gorgon pistol. And also the Snub has the counterpart that the Locusts normally have for their loadout, which is the Boltok pistol. Now, the Snub pistol itself, it's a very interesting pistol because of the fact that it's fully functioning in a variety of ways. There is not a lot of lore behind it. It's just a very well-used handgun by most of the coalition. But it's the fact that this gun has many uses for it, or many ways it can be used. How it can be used for newbies as their sidearm that they just get, and for expert gears who can use it just as effectively as a Lancer. Now, the thing you need to remember about the Snub pistol, however, is that it's very different from most pistols you'll ever deal with. For one, the way it looks. There's a reason it looks like this, because the fact that the gun loads from the front. Wrap your head around that for a moment. Anyone who doesn't know much about guns knows... Well, people who do know about guns, let's start off with that. You normally load a pistol for what the Snub is. It's not a Magnum revolver or anything. That's the Boltok. Normally, you'll stick it in the area you would hold a pistol. So if you're holding a pistol like this, you'd clip it in from the bottom with a clip. That's different with the Snub pistol, with the fact that the Snub pistol, it has a very fat front to it because you load it from the front. And the reason for that is because the ammunition or the bullets itself for it are so large, it can't fit in the back. And I did my research into this to see what kind of ammunition it uses or what it would be called. The ammunition that's used for a Snub pistol is called the Cal 50 ammunition. Now, I'm going to assume that's its own kind of ammunition in the Gears world, because if I'm going to assume it's a 50 caliber bullet, that means it has just as much firing power as a Desert Eagle Magnum revolver. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a pistol that can be fired off strong enough where if you are unprepared firing it, it can snap your wrist with one shot. I'm going to assume that the Snub pistol does not use 50 caliber bullets, because if it does, the Snub is so powerful that it can literally tear a hole into your chest and tear something out about yay big behind it. I'm going to assume it doesn't fire 50 caliber bullets, but just what it's called Cal 50. And the reason I say that is because we have a gun in the game that is a Magnum revolver, the Boltok pistol, which it takes 6 shots out of it because it's a revolver, but it also has that stopping power you would expect from a Magnum revolver or like a Desert Eagle. More about the Snub is that, like I said, it can be used in a variety of ways. For instance, it is recommended for gears where if you don't have a long shot, your best go-to for distant shooting would probably be your Snub pistol, because even though it does not have sights, you are able to use it and zoom in with it. Now, that's for a player standpoint. I'm guessing in-game it's probably like you're just focusing more with the Snub, and because of how well it feels shooting, You have more of an ease with it, more of a focus you can have. The recoil is extremely low with a snub pistol. What else? It's a semi-automatic, which meaning that the gun will continue to fire as quick as you can pull the trigger. So if you have a full clip in there, well, not like this, you have a full clip in your snub, you are able to fire as much that's in there as quick as you can pull the trigger. That's why when you play and everything, you can't just hold it down and it'll continue to fire for you. It doesn't work like that. That's an automatic pistol then. A semi-automatic means, again, you can fire as quickly as you can pull the trigger. So that's another basic aspect when it comes to the snub pistol. Another aspect involving the snub pistol is, and it was very interesting when I found this. The snub pistol is a gas-powered pistol. It sounds odd, but I had to look it up on the wiki to see that too. It runs on petroleum by the look of it. I would say emulsion, but the fact that snubs are still being used and there is no emulsion as far as we know of anymore, I'm guessing petroleum, because it is stated that, gas and petroleum did exist, and it probably still does. So it's probably running off of gas. Now for the Lancer itself, I believe it's also stated the Lancer's chainsaw also runs on gas. It's gas powered. So the Lancer and Snub are both gas powered, while the Gnasher shotgun is not. I would want to assume there's a reason it's gas powered, because it is shown that it has actual bullets. It's not like they're loading up a shell and everything with petroleum in it. I'd like to assume it's black powder, or at least, their version of black powder, whatever they want to use, that's firing off inside of these shells. So the snub pistol, I want to say maybe that's how it's able to aim so well. Maybe there's less recoil. I don't know what the gas would really be used for. Again, I'm not a gunsmith or a gun expert. I know a decent amount, as you can see, talking about weapons, but I don't know enough to know exactly what I would be using gas inside of my my firearms for. So yeah, the snub pistol. It is probably a very versatile tool. Me personally, it's probably the least used weapon that I have, because of the fact that, while the snub is versatile, where it's able to zoom, and it's a semi-automatic, and it has the firing speed you can literally go at, because that's as quick as you can shoot, compared to the Boltok, the Boltok has more power. I believe the Boltok can also do a semi-zoom to it, but it has a lot more recoil. Then you also have the Gorgon, which I believe that one can also zoom, but its rate of fire creates a large recoil too. So the plus sides for using the snub pistol is that it's a semi-automatic, and I'd say less recoil, while the Gorgon is fully automatic, more recoil. And then you also have the Boltok, which it has a strong amount of firing power, not as much ammo though, and it only holds roughly 6 shots in it before you have to reload. And also its kickback is also pretty strong. So that's the MX8. If I got that one right, I gotta make sure. The MX8 snub pistol. Again, I didn't know it was MX8 until I actually looked it up. This video is a lot shorter than I normally would go for weapons, but the snub pistol really does not have that much info. I mean, it's a medium scale weapon. You're not going to use it for long ranges like you would use a long shot. And the only reason you can really use a torque bow for long range is because it has a laser sight to it, so you can see where it's going to go. But that's the thing, the snub just doesn't have that much information to it at all. It's just your basic sidearm. There's not a lot of history to it. I guess I could try and pull some facts out quick. It was Prescott's go-to weapon. Prescott, his preferred weapon wasn't a Lancer or a Gnasher. It was the snub pistol. That was his go-to weapon. Which kind of makes sense with Prescott. I kind of want to get a Loomis video, or at least talk about the Boltok soon, so that I can just say yes. Yes, Prescott's parallel was Loomis, the one who always used the Boltok pistol. Or, hey, did you know about the Boltok? That was Loomis's favorite weapon. Something like that. But yeah, Prescott used the snub a bit. Again, all gears have used it. All gears know how to use a snub pistol. It has an odd design because you have to load to the front, so it's kind of top heavy. So I'm guessing your wrist would end up pulling downwards instead of upwards because of the weight. That's all I can really go on with the snub. Again, the snub does not have that much info. It's just your basic weapon. The Gnasher at least had some info to it. You needed a certificate to fire. The Hammer of Dawn had lore abound. The Gnasher has a ton of lore. The long shots I can tie in with the Southern Islands. You know, anything locust related has a history to it because it's a locust weapon. It's a foreign weapon. Even the hammer burst, with how many different renditions of that is, I can go through that constantly. The only other weapon I can think of that I would probably have very, very, very little info on, maybe the one shot, because we barely ever get to see the one shot. I mean, that's all I can guess. So that's the snub pistol. I'm sorry this one's a bit shorter than I normally go for, and I'm sorry I've been padding it on for a bit. But yeah, that'll do it for this week's Gear Talk. Thank you anytime you watch this. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Take a look at the Patreon. Follow us wherever you need to. Thank you guys. See you next week.